everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Back in January, I did one of my Patreon design soap challenges where I made my Coco-Nuts bar, and that had some coconut oil in it. We used some coconut water, some coconut milk powder, and some coconut exfoliant. Now in the February vlog, I showed a little bit more about that soap, and I did a bit of a lather test on it, and I love how this soap feels, but I am not a fan of exfoliating soap bars. It has to be a very specific style of exfoliant in it for me to actually enjoy using them. And as much as I enjoyed the nice beautiful creamy lather, I couldn't stand the exfoliating parts in it, so I gave it to hubby. But I do them because my customers do like those exfoliating soaps. But I really wanted to be able to enjoy this bar of soap without that scratchy feeling. So I've decided to make a second soap that kind of complements it, and I'm calling it Coco-Lux. And it's going to have everything that the Coco-Nuts soap had except for those exfoliating bits. Let's go and make it. Alright, so I've got everything measured out that I'm going to need for this soap. I'm going to keep it fairly simple as well. I'm just adding in my coconut milk powder. It's an organic one I've got. It's slightly more yellow, but it's still fine there. So I'm going to give that a bit of a mix in. And I'm also going to put in my coconut water straight in here as well. I did discount that water amount from out of my lye solution here. Let's give that a little bit of a mix. I'm going to pour my lye water in here, mix it until it comes to emulsion, because I want to try and add a gold swirl through this as well. We'll see what happens, because normally coconut oil soap does move fairly quickly. I'm going to have to pause the video for a minute because I almost made the most stupidest mistake. I would have been absolutely kicking myself, and it's important that I share this with you guys. I've had all of these oils set up from the night before. I generally try and get my oils down to room temperature by setting them up the day before. So I've had these sitting here all day. I was meant to film making this in the morning, but there was a little bit too much noise coming into the shop, so I left it until this afternoon, and it's now about 3:15, and I've just gone to pour the lye into the oils, really not thinking, and then it suddenly occurred to me that coconut oil soap, or soap made predominantly with coconut oil, needs to be cut within a few hours of actually making it. And I know this particular recipe needs to be cut within 3 to 4 hours of pouring it into the mold. Otherwise, when you go to cut it, it just crumbles, you break your wires and all that sort of stuff. So just as I went to pour my lye water in, I remembered I'm not going to be here in 4 hours time. I'm hopefully going to be at home eating my dinner. So luckily I remembered before I poured the lye water in here. So what I'm going to do is leave my bucket of oils and my lye water sitting here on the bench. I'll cover them up, and when I come back into the shop tomorrow morning, I'll get on to making this, which will be in the next couple of seconds for you. Okay, so it is now 8:30 the next morning, so I have plenty of time to make this soap. I'm just going to give this a quick blitz just to make sure that coconut water and milk powder is fully incorporated, and then we'll pour in lye water. And I am going to separate it out for just a little bit of colour, and hopefully this plays nicely. Alright, so I'm going to keep the design of this quite simple because I want this bar to really scream luxury, but I am still going to do a little bit of a swirl. So in this pot here, I have got some gold mica. So we're going to do a bit of a drop swirl with that. In fact, we might add just a little bit more in there, like so. And then we're going to grab our fragrance. And today I'm using one that's got notes of sweet orange. We've got some citrus peel, cherry, jasmine, a bit of sea salt, and then there's some musk and sandalwood in there as well. And one other thing I'm going to add into here, because I did do a test on that fragrance and I really liked it, but I can't remember whether it discolored or not. So I'm going to add some titanium dioxide into this main part here. We'll give it a mix, and then we will do a bit of a in the mold pour, I think will do to get our swirls. Change of plan. Obviously the fragrance doesn't like gold, so it could be the iron oxide. So let's do a ploppity into the bucket because that is staying fluid. So we'll just plop the gold in, give it a good stir, and then chuck it into the mold and hope for the best. Alright, let's grab our mold. It is warming up and we're going to have some plops of gold in there. We'll just have some gold nuggets going through our luxury bar of soap. And because I do often get lucky with that good old chopstick, I am just going to put it through just to try and break up. Oh look, there's a really big piece there. Let's give it a really good, oh look at that. There's a huge chunk there. Okay, I think I'm just going to have to put up with the fact that I'm not going to get beautiful gold swirls with this one. I am going to get chunky gold in there. Alright, I've just tried to smooth the top out with the spoon because as I was using the spatula I could feel that it was starting to go. So I'm going to say these only last a few years because the soap works its way through the plastic. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to smooth the top of that with that spatula anymore. Let's move this jug out of the way. I am going to do just a very simple spoon top. Really interesting thing is the actual white on this is still fluid enough to actually do stuff with, but it really did not like that gold mica. So if this soap does prove to be popular, next time I make it, I probably wouldn't put any fragrance into the gold side, just put it all into the white, and then hopefully we can get that nice swirl going because yeah, there's not going to be a nice swirl in this one, but it's still soap, and like I said, I think I'm just going to end up with nice big gold nuggets in it instead. Alright, we've got that top all done. Just give it a little bit more on that side. Put this excess soap off my spoon back on the end piece so we get a good size. Alright, to finish it off, I got these gold cellulose beans off of Heirloom just to see what they were like. I only got myself a small pot to start with because I wanted to see how they behaved, how much you got for the 10 grams. I think this one was 10. Yeah, this was 10 grams. I wanted to see how much you got and how much you used because they're not cheap. A bit like your jojoba beads aren't particularly cheap, but you don't really use a lot of them. And the idea with these is once they actually come into contact with water, they will burst. So I thought I might just sprinkle a few of these on the top just to give it that little bit more of that luxury feel, hopefully. I'm just missing a little bit there. Alright. So I think something in the universe was telling me not to make this soap. So hopefully when it sets up in a couple of hours time and we cut it, it does look alright on the inside. And I know it's going to feel absolutely amazing because the top, well, the whole bar of the Coco-Nuts feels really good. But as I said, when I did my little tester video, I don't actually like exfoliating soaps that much, but really wanted the feel of this. I did end up giving my husband my test piece of the Coco-Nuts bar and he absolutely loves it. So this one will be for me. That is the top of our soap. I'm going to leave it here for about 3 to 4 hours and we'll be back very, very shortly and we will cut it open and see what we've got. Okay, so it has been about 4.5 hours since we made this soap, and it is feeling pretty hard on the top. It's feeling pretty warm as well, and we've got a few cracks on the top because it has warmed up, but I'm not too worried. I'm going to get it out of the mold. I didn't want to tip it out because even though it's quite hard, it's still got a lot of flex to it, so I didn't want to damage it. Let's get our liner off, and then we're going to cut this using the single bar cutter. I don't like cutting coconut oil soaps on my multi-bar because it does set up quite hard. I don't want to have more than one wire that needs replacing if it does break. So we have got that out of the mold. Let's grab our cutter. Alright, so we're going to grab our single bar cutter. I'm just going to slide that bit back. Now to set it up correctly, I'm going to take my ruler here and I'm going to bring my wire down. I cut my bars at 2.5 centimeters. So I'm going to line my wire up over the 2.5 centimeters on my ruler and then just bring my stopper up to that mark. And before I tighten it too much, I do just like to make sure that I have got my piece down here nice and even, so it's just a little bit off up the top there. That is better. Perfect. And now I can actually tighten that up. Just grab my tray to put my soaps on, and we're ready to start cutting now. Let's grab our soap. We'll start by cutting an end piece off. Ooh. Alright, let's slide it along and we'll cut our first full bar. I'm just going to take some of that off of there so it doesn't drag through. Through we go. Oh, and it's not too bad. Look at it. It's just got like little gold nuggets all the way through. I was expecting to see some really big chunks. Maybe we will as we get further down, so we won't get too excited yet. But it's not as bad as I thought that was going to be. Let me just clean that off, bump our soap along, and we'll cut into the next bit. It's smelling really good as well. This fragrance oil, I think I discounted it as well because it was a bit, it did race. I think that was what the problem was in my tester that I did, but I don't think it actually discolored. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it is going to behave that way on this soap. But it is smelling really, really good. It does have a sort of, almost a tropical beachy sort of vibe to me. Just with those sort of fruity notes that are in here. And I'm so pleased that we don't have any huge chunks of gold in here at the moment. Oh look, spoke too soon. There's some bigger chunks, but it still looks really nice even with those big chunks. It does just scream that little bit of luxury, some gold with some white diamonds maybe, I don't know. You got to be creative when you're looking at this sort of stuff. But really pleased with how this one has come out. Love the top of it as well, and I already know that this soap is going to feel absolutely amazing on the skin because it is virtually the same as the other soap that I made, just without the exfoliant. So if you have been keen to try the Coco-Nuts bar but like me are not a fan of exfoliants in soap, when this one is ready you'll be able to try this one without those exfoliants and you will not regret it because it is lovely. If you are one of my Patreon members and you want to have a go at this soap, just go back to that original recipe that I put out on Patreon and just take out those exfoliants, and then everything else is exactly the same. I just don't split the soap into those two layers like I did with the Coco-Nuts. So oh look, we're back to having nice little speckles of gold through here. So I'm really pleased with how this Coco-Lux soap has come up. If it proves to be popular on the shelf, it will become a part of my everyday range. And as I said, I just won't put any fragrance in the gold before mixing it through. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me as I made my Coco-Lux bar. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a good one, and I will see you then. Bye.